Let's talk about Caden Proctor for a second, because we didn't get to this. This news broke the other day. So Caden Proctor, offensive lineman last season at Alabama, transferred to Iowa when the transfer portal opened. Now apparently he's going back to Alabama?
He's going home.
Yeah, and I don't believe he accepted the money from Iowa's NIL collective. It just, my point was, we can talk about whether, this should be legal or whether it's ruining college football. I don't think it's a good look. My question is, if you're the team that they're returning to, and the easy, casual answer to me is, well, of course we would want this big-time freshman player back on the team. Well, number one, I watched a lot of Alabama fans trash this guy the whole year, saying that he's overrated, and they were glad that he was going back to Iowa, and there was a reason he was going back to Iowa. But if you're at a place like Alabama, and the culture is what we know the culture has been, you're one of the few places that has talented enough players where you can draw that line of, listen, you were here, you decided to leave, so you're gone. Mm-hmm. If this was, even a place like Auburn right now that needs all the help they can get up front, I would understand this guy coming back, right, and welcoming him back with open arms. To me, I find it very interesting from a culture standpoint that Alabama would be so open to have somebody leave and then come back.
Do you think it's just because it's a new coaching staff and they're saying, hey, we didn't really coach this kid and we need all the help we can get to get off to a fresh start?
Do they need all the...
I don't know, I don't know where they have him graded.
He played a bunch of games last year. He struggled.
But it's a new...
He struggled.
It's a new coaching staff.
I would...
We're gonna see more of this. This is gonna be something people are gonna have to get used to. Guys are gonna leave, all right? Might go somewhere and might come back.
So he didn't take the money from Iowa.
That's what I've seen.
But he could have, right?
I guess eventually he could have, but the way it was framed to me is that he didn't. I think it was like $100,000, something like that. I think about this from, if I was a fan of that team, how would I feel? It's easy to say, yeah, we want this freshman back that's got a lot of potential. He's a lot of freshmen struggle, especially up front. This is just weird seeing it happen at Bama, because Bama's one of those Golden Hill places, right? It's a place where there's so much talent that's been accumulated that you feel like if you do abandon ship, they're not going to let you back on. We're not talking about North Texas or one of these smaller places that would welcome Caden Proctor, with open arms. That's the part that I would just wonder a little bit. And I hope, for his sake, that it does work out and he ends up being fine. I'm rooting for the people, not necessarily the place in these type situations. But I don't know. It's just, would Saban let him back?
I don't know.
It's just, Bama always felt like it picked culture over talent, if it came down to it. Mm-hmm. Especially with Saban.
Well, it feels like they had both. You don't have to pick. You had all the talent. What is Bama hurting for players? They've got one, even without Saban there, they're still able to recruit at a really high level, at least so far. We'll see how it goes. But Alabama's accumulated so much wealth, it feels like they don't have to sacrifice.
I would say their offensive line was mediocre last year.
But again, it's a whole new coaching staff. If I'm Kalen DeBoer and I just came in and a kid transferred, even before I got there, really this could be my first time meeting him. If I think he's the best football player, right, and I don't see some noticeable cultural problem.
You just got there. That's that's one of the few avenues where I can understand it. Again, it's just weird to see Alabama do it.
Really quick, you guys touched on the Caden Proctor situation a couple minutes prior, and I just want to fill you guys in. So, from my understanding, Caden left because he was homesick, but also he was very disgruntled with the staff because he came in as a freshman at 330, and they beat him up to 360. So he had to adjust to SEC speed, to Division I speed at left tackle, playing 30 pounds heavier than he has ever played before, and he was very unhappy at the way that they handled that situation. So whenever he left and the new staff got hired, they like their guys a lot leaner. They're not going to put as much weight on their guys. And so he's already dropped 20 pounds, and I expect when he gets back to campus, if allegedly that's where he's going, that they'll make him drop even more weight, and I think that was kind of a selling point for him. to return.
Well, if that's the case, then why would you leave in the first? Why wouldn't you just go to the new coaching staff and say, hey, I want to play at 3:30 or 3:20, and they go, you know what? We like our guys at 3:20. Why don't you stay and we'll do that instead of leaving? Like, why would you go through the whole?
Because I think he had already been in touch with Iowa staff, which he admitted to, and was already dead set on returning home. Because, you know, that.
Well, then you left, dog. Like you left.
What
reports
reports are you hearing that the coaching Nick Saban staff wanted him to play offensive line at 360 pounds?
What is it?
What reports did you hear that they wanted him to play at 360 pounds? Think about what Iowa does. Iowa runs the football more than Nick Saban's former program. Like I played with guys who came in at 330 and they were mandated to lose weight and get down to 310. I've never heard a coaching staff say, we want you to get up to 360 pounds.
Because, the coaching staff wanted everybody to be 350 plus. That's why Latham weighed in at 365, but then on his pro day, he was 340. He had to lose 25 pounds to move the way he did at his pro day.
Well, Jake, let me ask you this. Was Nick Saban wrong?
I disagree with that, because I think that you will get more out of your offensive linemen, because I'm pretty sure the NFL, the standard weight on the offensive line is like I think it's like 315, right? 320. It's something.
I'd have to look at it. Here's what I would say, though. I think Nick Saban's track record of putting offensive linemen in the NFL is pretty good. I feel like it's a little bit more than that. Like I feel like I would believe the homesick part. I would believe the homesick part a lot more than the weight part, because I mean, look at the guys that Nick Saban just put in the league. I'm not saying that he didn't want him big. I mean, look at Georgia's offensive line. It's basically, a bunch of transformers up there. My whole point is that regardless of that action, you admitted to tampering with the Iowa coaching staff. You decided to leave Alabama, even though when you knew the new staff that's coming in place, you go back to Iowa, then you go back to Alabama. It's just not saying. I think there should be guardrails on the rules, right? We've talked about this a million times. I'm just surprised to see it happen at Bama.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Jake.
I agree. And we discussed it earlier. The only thing that's going to get it to change, because Nick Saban was talking about it, was if something happened like this, as an example, which the timing was perfect.
For sure. I agree.
Thanks for the info, man. We appreciate it.
What's up, YouTube? Hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for joining us on the live stream for the first round of March Madness. That was a lot of fun. Make sure you catch the show as well. We appreciate you.